Hi there, good morning. Welcome to the trade setup right here on BloombergQuint Live. I'm Niraj Shah, and yes, BloombergQuint is 5 years old. So yesterday was the fifth birthday, if you will. So many of you wrote to us on Twitter, felt very special. Thank you so much for that. Now, on to news, on to updates. Remember, the Chinese President Xi Jinping and EU leaders, as I read, are expected to hold a video call as tensions flare amidst EU and China. So that is one. Saudi Arabia has insisted that OPEC Plus must extend the production agreement, while UAE has pushed back. So there is a bit of a flare up there. China has ordered Didi's removal. No, we'll get to that. We'll get to this in a bit. China has ordered Didi's removal from app stores. So that's the third very important thing. I mean, if you're invested in a business in China, think about it. And the Delta variant continues to create havoc globally, and that might impact airlines as well. So lots happening around the world. Welcome to the trade setup. First, take stock of what the world markets are looking like or have done. Now, US markets did reasonably okay, not just in Friday's session, but even otherwise. And look at this chart, right? It shows you how it's the longest daily winning streak since August for the S&P 500. So it's actually had a very good run. The futures are not indicating anything untoward. So the run might well continue. And you never know for how long would it last. But yeah, usually when runs last for too long, there is obviously a day or two of pauses. So let's wait and watch when they come about. So that is one. But in light of the fact, but the US markets will be shut today, remember. But in light of the fact that the US markets have had a steady run, I think the rest of the Asian bourses, including the SGX Nifty, are probably not indicating any untoward movement. Hovering between the red and the green, or hopping between the red and the green, are the Asian indices. The SGX Nifty should come up on your screen next. I actually didn't even check in the morning. Somebody sent me a message and it looked like it was going to have a half decent start. Let's wait and watch what it is showing right now. We'll see it together, about 93 odd points. So actually that's not too bad. Decent enough outing for the SGX Nifty in the session today. So do watch out. We might actually have a decent start today. Does it mean that it'll last well? I don't quite know. Mind you, the tax revenues for India by April, May were up about 148% and even 45% over 2019. So that's actually not too bad. But let's take stock of what the trade setup is looking like in the session today and what to watch out for in the session today and for the week, actually, not just today. So I'll bring what to watch out for the week. OPEC Plus meeting, of course, today, and that will impact the oil market. So that is to be monitored today if they reach a decision, let's put it that way. The Fed minutes get released on Wednesday, and somehow I don't think there'll be a surprise, but for whatever it's worth, the market does focus on these minutes very, very minutely. So it'd be interesting to see what comes out late Wednesday evening our time. So for us, if any, there is any impact Thursday. And TCS results, of course, come out on 8th July post-market hours. So their results and their commentary would be very, very important. IT has had such a terrific run that it's imperative for TCS, the leader, to come out with decent numbers and decent commentary and confidence. Let's wait and watch if they do that. What did the markets do in Friday's session? Very quick snapshot before we get to the trade setup. The MOB function of the Bloomberg terminal will come up on your screen next. Just a quick recap. It's been a weekend. We might all have missed out and forgotten, etc. So the breadth was interestingly positive. 276 advancing to 213 declining. A bunch of stocks did really well, especially on the chemicals and the pharmaceutical side. A bunch of these. Look at that. I mean, leave Root Mobile out. You'll see an Indoco, a JB Chemicals, a Vinati Organics, IOL Chemicals, Tata Chemicals. I mean, you had all the chemical companies do so well in trade on that session. So that was one key thing. Root Mobile had a big bang, 20% up move. So that one, of course, stayed in focus. HFCL, a Reliance entity, is up 9%. And Greaves Cotton had a very strong close too. So a lot of these stocks are coming on the radars of the chartists and they are being recommended. And they are having some terrific moves. The Adani Group stocks continue to grind lower, though. All four, Transmission, Energy, Total Gas, and Enterprises, all of them had a bad move, save for Adani Ports, I think, which also had a iffy move, but everything else really corrected. So those were the standout losers, if you will, as of Friday's session. Now, what's the trade setup for the today? I do think that sporadic lockdowns may dampen the spirits on the reopening trades. Everybody believed that the reopening trades are a no-brainer. because after wave 2, even if there's a wave 3, we are well prepared for it. But we are definitely well prepared for it. But look at the news from Maharashtra, for example, right? Satara has gone into a full lockdown. Satara is a large district, by the way. That's gone into a full lockdown. The measures aren't easing in the rest of the metro cities as well. And if this is in Maharashtra, it must be there in other states as well, in select pockets. So we're not quite seeing a full-blown recovery, if you will. So that is part one. And like I said, that the OPEC Plus decision, it'll come out later today. It might have an impact on the upstream companies tomorrow. If indeed UAE does play spoilsport to the rest of the cartel, then you don't quite know what happens to oil and upstream. But if it doesn't, then maybe there's a bit of a pullback. Typically, the ONGCs and the oil Indias of the world have not reacted too positively to good news, but have reacted negatively to bad news. So you have to be prepared for that. So those are a couple of stocks or some things that I will watch out for. In terms of stock-specific action, a bunch of stocks to monitor today. So firstly, steel stocks. Two things. China tax announcements might impact metal stocks in trade. And the Indian companies reportedly cut prices by about 1,500 to 2,000 per ton, which was lower than anticipated. I think Steelmint reported this. Some companies 1,500, something is 2,000. I think the talk was that they will cut prices by up to 3,000 per ton. That hasn't happened, which is actually a good sign. So, well, let's wait and watch. Maybe this could not be positive, negative news. I got a forward quoting agencies just 2 minutes before the trade setup, so I was not able to verify, which is I haven't put up. But apparently, one of China's top steelmaking hub has started implementing a 30% cut in output as well. So after the Russian output curbs something from China as well. So could be interesting what happens to metals globally, really, steel, non-steel, etc. And therefore, but keep an eye. I mean, we still have an hour, right, before trade begins. It might well be worth your time to just go out and try and study this because it might have an impact on steel. Keep in mind that 1,500 to 2,000 is actually lower than anticipated. By the way, and Tata Steel output numbers came out as well, right? So see, the output numbers obviously lower than expected, but most brokerages say that the margins will be higher than the decadal high clocked in Q4, and therefore they are positive on Tata Steel, and that might percolate to the rest of the steel pack too. So that is one pocket. Steel is a very active pocket for this morning, by the way. Avenue Supermart is the other one. The Q1 update got released. The results are this Saturday, of course. But the Q1 update, revenues were up 31% at 5,032 crores on a YOY basis. The revenues were down 31% from Q4. Q4 was good numbers, 7,303. QOQ basis, they're down 31%. But remember, the numbers, our revenues are still 13% lower than Q1 FY19 as well, which was the pre-COVID. So you would probably say not the best of updates. Or you could look at it this way, that if Avenue Supermarts has done this, imagine what would be happening to the others. These guys are probably as good as they come, right? Or the best in the bucket. So let's see how the market reads this. They added 4 new stores. The total stores was count as of June 30th was 238. Now, let's wait and watch how Q2 shapes up. And if they give some commentary in the release, etc., about how they are seeing the situation as of July. But obviously, I mean, to my mind, it's not really looking as great as one would have thought when we thought that June would start opening up and then we'll see a full-blown open up. I don't think that's happening. Some other stocks, mid caps, small caps, a bunch of them actually. So Panisha Biotech put out a tweet. Maybe we can bring up the tweet from the Twitter handle. But they said they've thanked, of course, the government of India, saying that they'll be ready to be the first to manufacture a Sputnik in India. And they thank, of course, PMO, etc. But the key point is that they are amongst the first ones to produce Sputnik, and if indeed that gains acceptance in a big way, it helps Panisha's numbers in Q2, and maybe that stock could react today. So do watch out for that one, and do watch out for a bunch of others. So Wonderla Holidays, they've said that they are going to reopen the business from 5th July with 50% capacity, but it is opening up. Whether people go or no, I don't know. It's not typically the quarter when people go out to theme parks, but you never know, right? With 50% capacity, people might just be going. Any kind of business is good business. Maybe Wonderla reacts. SL Propack, reportedly, Anand Kripalu is headed to join there as MD and Global CEO. This is reportedly my error. I should have mentioned that this is not news, but reported news, but apparently true. So let's wait and watch if SL Propack has some reaction. Redington board meet on July 7 to consider proposal of issuing bonus shares, and Kim's came out with strong results. So these are a few names that all of us should keep an eye out for. JP Morgan came out with a couple of couple of brokerages came out with a note on Marico post its quarter one update. So JP Morgan said that they maintained their overweight with the target price of 570. They believe there's a healthy revenue momentum in Q1. The EBITDA margin will be up on a quarter-on-quarter basis, helped by significant revenue leverage. And they believe that the Q1 revenue EBITDA PAT forecast stand at 30%, 3%, and 6%, which is apparently amongst the highest in their coverage staples coverage. Citi maintained a buy with the target price of 595. They say that they see no material surprises from the Q1 update. Revenue growth will be healthy and margins will contract on last year's abnormally high base. So interesting, two brokerages have completely contrasting views here. But that's why I bring these so that people know that, don't just look at one brokerage house note and say that you want to buy or sell. Just read the whole context. Some people have very different assumptions about what the company can do. Citi, of course, estimates 32% YOY consolidated revenue growth, or about 8% 2-year CAGR, which is, as I said, so that was Citi's view on how that is amongst the top staples growth within their coverage. So Marico could be an interesting one in trade today as well. And then there'll be some other mid caps on small caps too. Morgan Stanley has a note on Avenue Supermarts, but in Morgan Stanley is bullish, I think, with a target price of 3,200, 3,250. But JP Morgan is saying that their target price is 2,700. So again, depends on who you follow, who do you think is a better analyst. But net, the long and short of this seems to be that we'll have a start which is decent. Select companies could do well, and there'll be pretty interesting numbers, reactions to an Avenue Supermarts, to a Tata Steel. So all of that could be very interesting. And Vodafone Idea, by the way, viewers, sorry I missed out, but just before we wrap up, Vodafone Idea, apparently a consumer body has appealed to the government not to give too much of relief, do some forensic audit, etc. You never know, Vodafone Idea might have a bit of a dull day today, so keep an eye out for that as well. Thanks so much for tuning into the Trade Setup. Have a safe day ahead, have a profitable day ahead, and if you're stepping out, please stay masked up. I know I say this every single time, but it is warranted, especially since select areas in Maharashtra for sure, and maybe the rest of the country, are actually seeing cases spike so much that the authorities have had to impose strict lockdowns. It is imperative upon all of us to ensure that we follow the safety protocols for ourselves and for others. So please do stay masked up if you step out. Thanks so much for tuning in today.